How about no? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about characters that aren't gear averse, but they're also not gear required, kind of. I mean, they're all better with more gear. It's almost impossible to argue that the character's not better with more gear. And of course, with datacrons and everything, datacrons are going to make you do it. Some of them are going to be characters that are requirements and stuff, but there's still quite a few characters who are very functional at lower gear levels. And, mechanics-wise, they still make their team work just fine as long as you understand how to do it. So that's what we're going to talk about. Characters that you don't need to spend gear on, because frankly, who has all the resources? I mean, people who have all the money, that's fine. Even if you did have all the money, though, do you really want to give it all to CG? I don't think so. Whoa, madness! It's the person from Game of Thrones. I forget what her title is. I don't care. So here she is. It's Qi'ra, and she's pretty cool. She's pretty neat. And she doesn't really need gear, because she's kind of been supplanted in the smuggler faction. I'm sorry to say, guys, like, she can work as, like, part of the team, and she has a cool leadership here. She gets all these stats and everything. You can read it for yourself, but she's got that. So even when she's not in the lead, she's still benefiting her team. She does cool things like staggering people, calling mass assists, doing daze things, and at the end of the day, though, what I find myself using her for the most is using her to lead Nest teams. Just having Nest do a quad, like, she's the babysitter for Nest. She dies, and Nest goes and solos the team. And the reason that works is she dies, but the leadership stuff can, persists. And so, Nest gets critical chance, which, she sometimes needs more than people are willing to accept. They also, she helps Nest recover protection, in fact, every time she does a crit. So Nest can actually get max banners sometimes. Well, max -3, because Qi'ra is dead, DED dead. But then she also gives that 10% offense stacking 3 different times. And it's pretty neat. So, yeah, she's better with gear, of course, but a lot of times you just use her to be like a little Nest battery, and then she dies, and then you get fewer banners, but you get a more assured win. Aurra Sing she's a requirement character now, but before she was a requirement character, you can see this is all on my Professor X account, because my main account is starting to have most of its characters geared 12 or higher. Almost embarrassingly, but that's just the way things are right now. Aurra Sing, though, I mean, she was working for me when she was gear 10 as well. Here's the thing. She has just two kind of, aspects to her. She's kind of fun, actually. Despite having a nail in her head, which I feel like is not fun, actually. How distracting would it be to talk to someone with a nail in their head? Have you ever tried it? I have not, and I don't know. She doesn't seem like a great conversationalist anyways, but, whatever. I guess she doesn't need to. What do you tell a woman with a nail in her head? Nothing. You've already told her once, potentially? Or is that like an antenna? Is she just, trying to communicate? Not sure. Anyways, two aspects to Aurra Sing. One of them we never really use these days, and that is her topple thing. You get to put the Zeta on, she does more damage in the raid. That's great. People were using her a lot when the Sith raid was really, in vogue or whatever. I don't know if it's ever been in vogue. It's kind of weird, but the other aspect, folks, is her leadership, because you want to get that really quick contract, and if you do it right, and I have other videos showing that, so I don't need to explain it right now, but you don't need her for anything but her leadership to be able, and you don't need her Zeta on the lead, by the way. It's on there, but you don't need it. But the bounty hunters get their contract and are able to, Mando disintegrates the most dangerous person. And then, of course, you drop banners when she's inevitably very squishy. So, not much health or protection at this relic level, and then she does do a ton of damage. Once you put relics on her, she does a crazy amount of damage, actually, if you mod her right, but it's not absolutely necessary. A lot of the absolutely necessary aspect of this team comp with her as lead is just getting a fast contract, and that's it, and that's all you need. Yes, you want relics on all of them, guys, but okay. We have Omega here, Omega, as people love to say, and she has an Omicron now. Omega with an Omicron. Interesting. But here's the thing, folks. People love to hate on Omega, and this isn't a spoof. This isn't me saying that, oh, she sucks, so you don't have to put gear on her. It's not that at all. She actually does quite a bit of damage. I know that the CG gets a bad rap for, you know, miscommunicating what her purpose is and everything, and just... I don't care about what your thoughts are on that. Frankly, what I care about is the functionality of the character itself. And what I'm telling you is she does like relic levels because she does a lot of damage. However, with the squad she's with, she does a lot of things to activate that squad and make it good, such as like she gives Wrecker a couple more stacks, which means he pre-taunts in the match, which is really nice. She also assists every single time they use a turn almost. And every time she assists taking a turn, she does 2 different forms of damage. She does her physical damage, and then she does her damage, assuming you're using Hunter lead. And, you have all of the Bad Batch characters there. But she also does a huge amount of damage to the entire group because of the way all of their kits read. And, we could get into that whole thing. But the TLDR of that is... just have her assist every time. It doesn't matter how much damage she's doing. She's doing percent damage with her big, like her AoE damage, and none of that is something that's counterable. So she's doing pretty good here, guys. She does a lot of damage. At the end of the fight, almost always Omega would be the one who does the most damage to the opponent's team. You just don't notice it. She's the one, though, guys. She's the reason the other team melts, for reals. Now, Sarah's going to kill me for this, but BB-8 does not need a lot of relic levels. Not yet, at least, folks. So, obviously, requirement character if you're unlocking Rey. Sure. Yeah, you could put relic levels on BB-8. That's fine. Relic 7's enough. Or, like, Gear 11 is enough, because a lot of times, if you're using BB-8 for, eminently usable character, and yes, you want relic levels on it so that it doesn't die. And Gear 12 is nice. Gear 13, you get another 20 speed off of all of the gear, another 22 speed if they're modded for speed, and and then you can put 6E on, and that's another 7 more speed, and speed is nice for BB-8. The thing is, though, at the end of the day, the one that's really, really important here, guys, it's not that one. I was testing you and myself, and we all failed. It is this one. Droid allies gain 8% turn meter for each active droid ally. So, whereas sometimes it's nice for BB-8 to get to go first, and if you're putting them in a situation where BB-8 is, where they're all droids, BB-8's going to taunt a lot of times. Be careful, because I guess you don't have to apply the taunt, or maybe you do, I don't remember now. Yeah, so I haven't applied the taunt, because you might just get killed. You might get smashed flat, but the thing is, with BB-8, BB-8's there to facilitate the rest of their team doing a lot of really awesome stuff. And whereas the taunt is cool sometimes, especially if you're survivable, that's not the bottom line. The bottom line is you put Grievous on the team with 200 something speed, and suddenly Grievous is going to go with an effective, with all that turn meter, an effective like 450 plus speed, which is really powerful. As a facilitator, BB-8 really makes a droid team do well, or even just a team with a couple droids. Like if you want R2-D2 to go first for some reason, and you want that extra turn meter, BB-8's just going to boost the turn meter on just R2-D2 as well. Obviously, Datacrons and stuff are not gonna fit in, but this BB-8 does not need a lot of gear levels to be good. Hermit Yoda is a requirement character, just like BB-8 is, but I mean, before you have to unlock him, before if you just unlock him at like 5 stars and just put a couple gear levels on him so that you can get the right abilities, that's all you really need. Like, he's just there to, like, he just hides in his hermitage and just like prods people with his stick every once in a while. No, that wasn't meant to be dirty, but it could be taken that way, I recognize. And chuckle about, in fact, inwardly. You didn't see me externally chuckle because I didn't. There you go. Here's the thing, guys. Relic 5, yeah, he's a requirement character, like I said. But before that, he really doesn't need gear levels. He's just training people. And ironically, he can be really weak and still train people. It's kind of like that, the whole thing of like, those who can't do, teach. I mean, that's what Yoda did anyways. He kind of just chickened out, didn't he? He's just like, I'm going to go sit on Dagobah forever. Like, not my idea. He's not a paragon of bravery, that's for sure. Now, Zombie is someone who's arguably doesn't want any gear on them because... So sure, you can't put datacrons on, you can't use them for the Rancor raid or whatever, but if you're just doing it for GAC purposes, you want Zombie to die as often as possible. So you want Gear 10, because Gear 10 unlocks the final ability that you need to be able to... I don't think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's that one. It's one of these. I don't care. Gosh, I haven't even put the Omega on, because I don't care. Like, Gear 10, Zombie's not meant to do damage. Zombie's meant to put tenacity down on people, sometimes with the basic, and otherwise, Zombie's meant to die over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Sounded like my 8-year-old, I apologize. But you don't want Zombie to be super survivable, and... frankly, the whole team benefits whenever a Nightsister dies, and so having a weaker Zombie is pretty nice. Mother Talzin's another one, and I know that we're doing 2 Nightsisters here. We could actually put a few other Nightsisters on here as well, just not old Daka or Asajj. Mother Talzin also doesn't care about the relic levels that much. She's a good facilitator as the leader, and then also, you need someone to die and kind of quote-unquote stay dead. Not exactly stay dead, but if you're using her lead, then she's calling people to come back every time that they're... when you use a basic, then they come... Use a basic, the person who's dead, the Nightsister who's dead, comes back, does a shot, and falls over. And once they die again, then Asajj and Daka both gain stacking offense and health and all kinds of cool stuff. And Talzin's the best candidate for that because Talzin does some cool stuff with her basic anyways, and she's very, very squishy at lower gear levels. Now, I love having Relic 7 on Talzin because she does a crazy amount of damage with her AoE, and it hits under protection. So I'm not saying that she's weak at lower relic levels, but sub relic levels, I should say. But at the same time, her thing is providing her leadership, her unique a little bit, but really just kind of dying and being the person who continues to die. Because even as Zombie dies a lot, if your opponent kills other team members, you want it to be Talzin almost always. Nute is another one that... yes, he's a requirement. I mean, we're starting to run out of characters that aren't requirement characters. I guess Talzin wasn't, but Nute, despite having no nose, is so he does okay as long as you put his lead on, and it's almost preferable in some ways. Like I've seen people attack, like using a Grievous team with Nute on it, attack a CLS team, and they shoot Nute and they don't kill him at the initial barrage, and that's really bad. You want Grievous to get that really early turn by them killing Nute, and so having Gear 11 just kind of takes the agency away from it. It's like, well, Han will accidentally kill him if he shoots him, so it's kind of nice. It shoots him right in the nose hole, or whatever, the lack thereof, and that's it. I mean, his whole thing is his... I mean, his leadership is nice too, actually, especially in 3s, but a lot of the thing is whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to that enemy, which can't be evaded, which, I mean... he just stands there. It's like a second leadership. It's very nice. Very nice. Don't need a lot of anything. to make it work. Range Trooper, I think he's the final one on our list, folks. He is good. I just got him to 10. I want to get him to relics at some point because he's good with troopers. He is, and I have relics that are datacrons that I want to be able to use with troopers right now. But he's been functional at level 8, at level 9 forever. You don't need him to be high level. Like, it's nice enough, but you know, just because you don't want him to die. But a lot of times troopers get to the condition for troopers is like, well, you enter the battle and usually you go first and then you delete the team and they don't get a turn, in which case Range Trooper never gets the chance to die. He never gets hit. He is just fine, just hanging out there and not being survivable at all. And meanwhile, he is helping his buddies. While Range Trooper is active, Imperial Trooper allies have 50% chance to call other buffed Imperial Trooper allies to assist. So they have to be buffed, but if you're using Piet with them, then they're all buffed anyways. So when they use an ability during their turn, so it has to be during their turn, but, you know, it does less damage, but it's calling people to assist. He's also providing, you know, some tenacity to everyone, which, whatever, who cares. He's also, he does his little stomp move and gives everyone protection up, which are buffs, which gives them more turn meter, and it helps them recover protection, and gives them retribution. Which is also nice. The protection recovery is really nice just in case the opponent does get a turn or two off. You know, and retribution is nice because you get a hit back, etc. I mean, he doesn't need a lot of levels. It's nice, but it's not necessary, really. Canderous, I think he's the final one on the list, folks, and he's one that, sure, if you want Datacrons to go with the team, then I mean that's the case for all of them. Datacrons, you need level, Relic 3, Relic 5, and we're not going to talk about how annoying that is or is not. We're just going to talk about the fact that that doesn't. Sometimes you want that with Canderous, and he does do a decent amount of damage once you put a lot of relic levels on him, especially once you get that Gear 12 plus, the final Gear 12 piece onto him. It adds like an extra 1,000 damage, or even more than that. It's crazy. So more relic levels, sure, that's nice, but let's pretend like relic levels, like Datacrons don't matter. The thing about Canderous is the only place he has in the whole game right now is Maul. He's just Maul's stooge, and that is because whenever Maul goes and Canderous gets to assist, then Canderous gets an obscene amount of turn meter. I don't know if it's a bug or what. They say that it's, his kit just doesn't work the way it's supposed to on paper here. Like, he just gains a crazy amount of turn meter every time he attacks someone, or every time there's a dot that's applied. And, that's, I think, from this, you guys can read about it, but he gains a crazy amount of turn meter, and it makes it so that he gets a turn immediately after Maul, and then he can do his special. So like, you have a faster character go. He's not fast enough to be the fastest. Like, he's not the fastest tool in the shed, so to speak, but he does okay with the turn meter gain. So what happens is a fast character goes, then they do their special, Maul goes, Maul does his AoE to get to the max stacks of Anguish, and then, because Maul has Frenzy still, Canderous goes because he's assisted and gotten a crazy amount of turn meter, and he does his special, Frenzy triggers on Maul again, and Maul deletes the team, because Canderous is there, and you don't need any damage from Canderous for that to actually be good. Is it helpful? Sure, against certain opponents, yeah, you really do want it, but against a lot of opponents, no, you just want that one impact, one effect. So that's it, folks. 10 characters. What other characters do you think do not need gear? And I don't mean like Eth Koth, because obviously he doesn't need gear because he sucks. But I want to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. Yeah. Yeah, he does. Take care, guys.